Hello, the Christmas is coming, but long time no see. We talked about how Power BI mobile features work once before, but fortunately the functionality has since been extended, so it's worth going through again as the Power BI is increasingly being used on mobile devices. So let's jump in it. Today's dashboard is a marketing dashboard where we can look at the relationship between the amount of advertising spent and the conversion it brings. Okay, it's cool, but it would be nice to see in a mobile too. Last time we saw in the first video how the mobile view worked in such a way that you could load the elements that already existed in the desktop into the mobile view with minimal changes. This approach hasn't changed, meaning that you can just add new visuals to the mobile view, but you can finally configure the existing ones in a much nicer way. So let's go to the view panel and click on the mobile layout button. On the right you can see the 4 elements that how build up my report in the desktop version. These can be dragged and dropped onto the mobile canvas using the familiar drag and drop method. Let's start with the title and drag it over here. Here we immediately need to make some modifications compared to the desktop view. Reduce the size to make it more readable. So let's pick, for instance, 16 points. Well, so far there are no big changes, but let's get a bit deeper. Let me take our first visual, this slicer, and drag it in. On the right side you will see the visualizations panel where you can format the elements in the similar way to the desktop version. As soon as we change anything, for instance, I turn on a single select, a small icon appears next to each parameter blocks. If you go above it, it also shows you what it does, so it indicates that the changes only affect the mobile view and the desktop view stay unchanged. It's also important that this is of course not true the other way around. So if you go back to the desktop view and change anything, the mobile view will inherit it immediately. In terms of configurability, the slicer has all the features of the desktop view except maybe just the header icons. Let's look at our next visual, which is a line and column chart. I will adjust a bit because not everything fits in such a small space. Wow, on the right side you can see how many things are adjustable. I will turn off the y-axis here. The mobile view is just taking up space. You can see right away that the mobile icon appears in that block. And it's also important to note that at the bottom there is an option to reset all the mobile changes that have been made so far. If we made any changes, below the blocks clear mobile changes button will appear, which can be pressed and revert back everything to the original state. I can change the color of the column chart to orange, and the padding here can be reduced even more to make the values and an x-axis easier to read. I've also reduced the data values a little bit and lowered the bottom so that the x-axis labels look better. These have also been reduced to the minimum 8-point size. Then let me catch our last visual on the report page, which is a scatter chart. Maybe even making it a little bit taller to make this type of visual more meaningful. I've reduced the size of the marker points so they don't touch so close each other. I will even enable the background for the values to make them more visible in such a small area. So let me set 95% of opacity with black background. I will also make the axis a little shorter so Just enough to say in this case, I think conversion and cost to the access. I've just published the first, then I will check it out. Let's see. Okay, cool. We just finished creating our mobile version, so let's see the result in the Power BI mobile application. Overall, we have made a big step forward in terms of functionality compared to the previous mobile versions, but a few things are still miss. Unfortunately, we can't provide backgrounds separately, and we still can't add extra filters or new visuals just in the mobile view. So the filter would have been especially nice if I'm going to see fewer data on these smaller visuals. That's it. Have a nice Christmas to you all.